Tonight, the conjoined twins who captured the nation's hearts.
The best thing about them is that they're stuck together. That's why I love them.
And the moment a mother has to risk everything to save her sons.
It's just absolute pain that you imagine the little babies and what they're going through.
Good evening and welcome to the Tonight programme. As any parent will tell you, having children is an immensely joyful but sometimes stressful experience. Angie and Azzedine Ben Hafaf know that more than most. In December last year, their twin sons Hassan and Hussein defied unbelievable odds to be born alive and healthy. But then the family had to face the heart-wrenching decision about whether to separate the boys or not. Tonight, we capture a rare glimpse of family life with conjoined twins and follow exclusively a journey of courage and strength that led to two little boys leading separate lives. Hassan and Hussein Ben Hafaf know nothing, of course, about what's been happening in the first few months of their life. The attention they've drawn.
Are you watching what's going on?
The overwhelming love they've received from strangers.
Just so please, God, they'd be all right.
They know nothing of the support and the fundraising.
There's over 1,000 bikers here today to see two small, beautiful baby boys, and they need our help, and people are more than willing to do it.
And they're thankfully unaware of the marathon 14-hour operation they will have to endure. To their family in Cork, Southern Ireland, they've always been precious. When they were born last December, however, Hassan and Hussein also became part of a very special group of children. Conjoined twins are formed very early in the womb when two separate, non-identical embryos fuse. Of every 50,000 pregnancies, only one will result in conjoined twins. 2/3 of those are stillborn or die soon after delivery. Survival is rare.
This is Hassan, and Hassan is the more laid-back twin, and Hussein has been always known as the naughty one. I always felt that motherhood in itself was a gift, but I think to be chosen to be a mum of conjoined twins is just a very rare and a very beautiful gift. They're just like a true miracle.
Seldom do parents take a set of conjoined twins home. Seldom do a family get the chance to bond with them.
I think the only thing I can say when I see them like that, just two beautiful babies, nothing else. I never look down or look what's inside or what's outside. It's just two beautiful babies, and that's it. That's the matter to me.
For Iman and Malika, it's typical sisterly love.
I like when they're awake. I like pushing them in their buggy. But most I like is pushing them in the shop.
And what makes their brothers different is all very straightforward to them.
The best thing about them is that they're stuck together. That's why I love them.
Careful. Man. Daddy, help Mommy down. Mommy wants you to listen to the waves, and I want you to smell the lovely sea air, because Mommy's going to bring you down here when you're big boys, aren't we?
It's March, and Angie and Azzedine Ben Hafaf are beginning the slow process of preparing themselves for the separation of their twins in April. For them, it's another monumental stage of an incredible journey that all started with the routine 12-week scan.
You have a little chorus going on, guys. Malika needed to go to the bathroom at that precise moment I was called in. So I told the scan lady to wait for my husband to come back. And she said, sure, we'd get started. So she put the gel on me and she started scanning. And she said, I'm actually seeing two babies. It's twins. And I was delighted. Twins, you know. Two for the price of one, you know. And her face just wasn't kind of getting happy with saying twins, you know. She said, I'm seeing something I've never seen before. The babies are joined together. And I broke my heart crying, and Azadine came into the room and I was absolutely hysterical.
And you found this very difficult to take in, really, when you got home and absorbed the shock. I mean, you went to a very dark place, really, didn't you?
I just grieved. I just went home, and we have wooden blinds, and I just made every room dark. I put on my nightlight and I put my little scan picture into a beautiful frame, and I stayed there for 6 weeks.
Just looking at the picture and... The couple were told it was likely their conjoined twins shared the same heart and most of their vital organs, meaning they stood little chance of surviving the pregnancy.
She wasn't eating, she wasn't drinking, she was very dehydrated. And she didn't know what to do herself. She wasn't thinking right. She thought she was losing it. Myself...
It's been terrifying.
It was very terrifying. It was really scary in the time. I mean, for 6 weeks, we had to go through that upsetting and just too much.
But a few months later, the second scan brought good news.
What happened then, she saw 2 hearts in the scan. So that she gave us a big hope. She said they don't have 1 heart, they have 2 hearts. And they have a chance to live.
We got one of those 3D scans, and I have this wonderful photograph of the boys clasping hands in the womb. And I remember the pregnancy, like at 24 weeks, that was my picture of hope. I just changed everything from that day. I thought, this is good, and we've been given a chance here, and I just knew that these 2 little boys inside me were my little fighters, and they've kept the name.
In just 7 days, Hassan and Hussein will leave for London and an operation that will hopefully lead to a new life. But there is a serious risk they could die. Today couldn't be more important for the boys. Their naming ceremony is a chance for family and friends to wish them farewell on their journey.
As difficult as it is to say, we have been given the date of the 7th of April for the boys' separation. And we would ask everyone to keep them in their thoughts and prayers on that very special day.
At London's Great Ormond Street Hospital, Edward Kiley, one of the world's leading specialists in separations, is awaiting their arrival.
They are joined from chest to pelvis. Livers are joined, gut is joined, bladder is joined. Lots of things are joined. They have 1 leg each, and that's the way they're made. From history, you know that children joined in this fashion, they can't move. So an awful quality of life joined versus independent mobility if they're separated. All things considered, life together, I thought, was virtually intolerable. And so my advice was that they should be separated.
Back home in Ireland, it's Mothering Sunday. This year, it's more poignant than ever for the Ben Hafafs. The twins are 4 months old, and according to the surgeons, their bodies are now robust and healthy enough to cope with the major trauma of a big operation.
Mummy's boy.
Azadine had to give up his job as a chef when Angie fell pregnant with the twins to look after his family, who are his world. Returning to London will bring back the most vivid of memories. It was where Angie gave birth.
It's frightening enough to be having your baby. It's frightening enough to be having a caesarean section. But in this sort of situation where she had all of that, plus lots of people in theatre, there must have been 20 people in theatre, another 10 paediatricians waiting for the babies. So that's scary.
I remember shaking just uncontrollably, and I couldn't understand, what was happening. It was like my whole body was lifting. I was shaking so much.
She was absolutely terrifying. I mean, this is it. It's going to happen now. I was next to her, holding her hands. I said, look, it'll be absolutely fine. Be fine.
The critical thing is to not strain the join between the twins when you're delivering them. So what we'd like to do ideally is to make the opening on the womb very, very big, and then gently lift the twins out together so that they're kept together. And then what we have is a special platform that's just behind us. So what we do is that 3 of the obstetricians lift the twins together and put them gently onto the platform.
They come out and I looked at them and I just start bawling, crying. I mean, I never seen conjoined twins in my life in front of me, never. You think you hear about them, you know, probably you watch program about them, but seeing it in front of you, it's just something like amazing. You'll never experience something like that.
I just cried when I saw them. They were just so beautiful. You know, I think there's a fear when you think of seeing conjoined twins that, oh God, you know, is it going to look very abnormal? But you don't. You see beyond it. When they're your babies, you love every bit, shared or not shared, you know. There's more to love, you know.
Tomorrow, the Ben Hafaf family will set off for England. Having battled their way through pregnancy and birth, Angie and Azadin know that there is a risk they could lose their sons forever.
Come on, girls. Malika.
Hi, Malika.
But they refuse to think the worst.
Yay! Look up and tell the balloons, I see you in London.
I see you in London. See you in London.
Over there.
London and a temporary home for the next 6 months. Today, preliminary tests begin. They're needed to establish how the twins' bodies have formed and how their internal organs have grown. Whilst Azadin looks after the girls, Angie has news of their first scan to tell him.
All the doctors that were in the urology test came up and they have one good kidney each that they can do something with, which said that they would be okay for separation. Yeah. I just want to hug them. I just want to pick them up and hold them, you know. Because finding out, having to go up and just see if that was good or bad news just now it was just heartbreaking, you know. And we're going to have a lot of this.
For 2 weeks, the boys are in and out of hospital. The surgeons need to determine whether they can divide their major organs successfully, if they have separate blood supplies to them, and crucially, if the twins can eventually survive on their own. Still, nothing is certain. The medicine at times takes a physical toll on the babies. As the day of surgery approaches, so anxiety builds.
We just came back from a walk with the girls. We just innocently walked into the room to find madness, that the boys' temperature had gone really sky high. Hussein in particular was really, really sick. They thought it was a problem with their heart, and it was really scary up there, you know, but the heart specialist just came and said that he was happy with their hearts, so it just must have been a reaction to the general anaesthetic.
Finally, investigations are complete. The surgeons have given the twins an 85% chance of survival. The odds are good, but the risk of one or both of the boys dying remains.
What I feel in the moment is like we get cramps, like we don't really eat properly. We're always thinking, worried, you know, just your stomach is always in bits. You know, sometimes you get, headaches from thinking too much.
Following consultations with their surgeon, Angie and Azadin have given their final consent.
I suspect they would love to have pulled out. It's one thing to have a child who's undergoing major surgery with a significant risk of killing it. It's another thing to have 2 children undergoing surgery that might kill one or both of them. So all your instincts, I think, must be saying, I want to scoop up these babies and run. So I think it takes immense courage on the part of the parents to actually allow it to go ahead.
Oh, it's okay, my beautiful darling. You don't need to cry.
Malek asked me 2 nights ago, why not leave them together, because they're beautiful and perfect the way they are. And that's how we see them. They're beautiful and they're perfect, you know. If I think with my heart, I can say leave them together forever. But if I think with my brain, I know it's not fair to the boys. I know they won't have a long life. The one thing that was very consistent was that the boys always had very strong hearts. But Mr. Kiley told me yesterday that the hearts were good, but they weren't great. And that's because they're lying so close to each other. So, over time, their hearts would weaken.
A rotating team of 20 medical staff will separate Hassan and Hussein at Great Ormond Street Hospital. It's one of the world's leading centres for treatment of conjoined twins. Their operation will be the 22nd of its kind for the team, and the procedure could last up to and beyond 20 hours.
A normal operation, basically you've got one patient, we've got two, and effectively you have to deal with them like that. So you have two sets of anaesthetic teams, two sets of surgical teams, and two theatres. But we're always hopeful. We don't plan to separate any of our conjoined twins without the thought that, we want them both to survive. Yeah, these little fellas I think will do well.
It's time for Hassan and Hussein to be admitted to hospital. As the girls wait with relatives, Angie and Azadin prepare to hand their boys over to the medical staff.
That's the most toughest time probably in my life.
The last few hours are precious, and it's support from the prayers are with the boys that gives Angie strength. For Azadin, his strength comes from his Muslim faith, and having the twins blessed is of utmost importance. For him, his beloved boys are now in God's hands.
Please grant these two boys independent and happy life. وَكُمْ بِنَا رَؤُوفًا رَحِيمًا رَبَّنَا لَا تَجْعَلْنَا.
Finally, the moment that Angie and Azadin have been planning for has arrived. It's the moment they've been dreading. This incredibly brave, courageous family start their long walk to theatre.
We can't take you in because theatre's clean. So try and take it from the end. We'll take them all.
How does a mother let go of her children when no one can tell her whether she will hold them again?
I love you to bits, baby. I love you so much, baby. Bye, Dad. Please don't cry, baby. Please, they're hungry now. Take good care, okay?
For the first 2 hours, the anaesthetist will work on putting the twins to sleep and stabilising them. As the drugs flow between their two bodies, they're continually monitored. Separations are among the most challenging and complex of paediatric procedures. It's also unknown territory for the surgeons. No amount of X-rays, scans or investigations can give them a complete picture of how delicate nerves and tissue are connected. It's complicated and painstaking. For Angie and Azzedine, it's the longest, most anxious wait.
We've been waiting for the last 7 hours now, and there is absolutely nothing yet. If there was any bad news, probably they'll tell us, but we didn't hear nothing yet. 7 hours and maybe another 10, 12 hours. We have to wait again. So we're talking 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's just the longest day ever. I just feel so confused, and it's like I'm not even in my body. It's like an out-of-body experience or something I don't know. It's just absolute pain. You just feel absolute pain that you're imagining the little babies and what they're going through.
At 10:40 p.m, after 14 hours of surgery, Mr. Kiley leaves the operating theatre and makes his way to the ward. Inside, Angie and Azzedine are desperate for his news. Hassan was taken to intensive care first, followed by his brother Hussein. The twins' operation couldn't have gone better. They survived.
We came down to see him at 2 o'clock this morning to see them in each cot, and it was absolutely weird. It was normal to see them joined, and it wasn't normal to see them apart, if that makes sense.
It was just amazing, just brilliant. Just, we couldn't believe it. I mean, they made it again. That's why we call them little fighters. And I think they are just incredible.
Love you, love you, love you. Always proud of you.
Angie and Azzedine know that another journey has only just begun. Just a month after surgery, the twins have been moved out of intensive care and are breathing and eating normally. For now, the 2 little brothers will remain in hospital, side by side, as further treatment takes place on their tiny bodies, ensuring that they continue to live their separate lives.
That's the only thing I want to do now for them is just make them happy, see them playing in front of me like other kids, see them talking to their sisters, going to school together, swimming together. That's the only thing I want. And I will do everything for them until the end. I will never give up.
Well, tonight I'm happy to report that the twins are stable and progressing well, but there is still a long way to go. We'll be following the progress of Hassan and Hussein throughout the year and wish them the very best in their long journey to recovery. Now, if you want more information about the boys, you can find a link on our website at itv.com/tonight. Until next week, though, goodbye and thanks for watching.
Next tonight, will Nicola's apologies fall on deaf ears in Emmerdale? Then at 8:30, what secrets can be found in Blanche's room in Corrie? And at 9, Griff Rhys-Jones concludes his trip in Hong Kong in Greatest Cities of the World.